very much.
Awesome.
So let's get started.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us about you from the beginning? Where were you born, and tell us about your family and where'd your ancestors come from?
I was born on Filbert Avenue in Orangeville, the 27th of May, 1939, in my parents' house. Okay. And there was no doctor delivering us. It was just I'm trying to think of, what is the person?
A midwife?
A midwife, yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you. But anyhow, the midwife delivered me, and I went to grade school here. We started first grade in 1945 during the war. And the first year I didn't do too well. My folks came from Croatia, and the reason that we came to Orangeville was that my uncle, Prosper Tomic, was here, and he talked to his sister, which was my mother, and talked her into coming out here. And my father didn't have too much to do with farming. He was a stonemason in Croatia, and so he was kind of quite a ways out from doing farm work, you know. But in time he learned, you know, my uncle taught him, and he bought 10 acres on Filbert Avenue, and they were basically pears, and it was a rundown orchard. Bought it from the bank. The bank had it for a while, and they tried to sell like 20 acres of it, and my dad bought 10 acres of it because my mother didn't want 20 acres because she wanted a new house. So there was an old house on the 20 acres, but she wanted a new house built. She didn't like the house that was there. So my dad had a house built, and it was designed by my cousin, Nick Tomic. It was an architect that worked for an architectural firm in Sacramento. They also designed the Memorial Auditorium. Dean was the name of the architectural firm. And he had the house built there, and like I said, I started Orangeville School, which was right up the street from us. It was.
And what school was that?
Orangeville School.
Orangeville School.
It was at the corner of Filbert and Central, and it remains to this day. Across the street from the existing Orangeville School is a house. That's a house now, but it was the original school in Orangeville.
Oh.
So I went to Orangeville School for 8 years, and then I went to San Juan High School. That was the closest high school. And I went to San Juan for 4 years, and then
How did you get to school?
I walked
Okay.
for the first 8 years. I walked, and then the San Juan had buses, and they would come by and pick us up and take us to San Juan High School. And I graduated from San Juan High School, and I went to American River Junior College, and I graduated from there, and I was the first class. It was a brand new school when I attended in 1957. And I graduated from there, and I went to Sac State for about 2 years, and like a dummy, why, instead of taking a full load, I decided that I was only going to take like 12 units that semester. And my friends and neighbors sent me a letter. They asked me to join the Army. So they drafted me, okay? And so I spent 2 years in the service. And when I came back, why, I was going to continue to go to Sac State. And my father and my brother were having a hard time with the ranch. And he asked me if I would join him. And so I did, and I became a farmer. I didn't get the degree I wanted, but hard knocks is what I got. So, and we were around here. We lived here from 1930, 39 until 1980, 1990.
Okay.
We moved up to Wheatland, and we've been up there ever since.
All right.
But this is where my roots are, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was hard for me to leave. I was 50 years old when we left. And it was the hardest thing I think I've ever done in my life because I love this place, you know. It was a piece of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Do you have children?
yes, we have 4 children. And I didn't think how many grandkids, 6.
All right. And they live locally?
No, some of them do. I have 3 kids that live locally, and one of them lives in Kansas. He's going to med school in Kansas. So
All right. All right. What kept you in school so long? What did you love about school?
learning something that was new and exciting, you know, things that were different than on the ranch, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of became, I don't know, monotonous after a while, you know. And so you just want to learn new things.
And what were you growing on the ranch?
We started out, my dad had pears. It was a 10-acre pear ranch that he had. And it was run down, like I told you. And so to kind of help out and make a little bit, why he decided that he would go into chickens. And so he built a chicken house. And I think at the time, why we had about 500 chickens. And the 500 grew to about 18,000 by the time we were all done.
Oh my goodness.
But, we sold the eggs to a store in Folsom, and this was during the war. I remember this real well. And they had a delivery man that would come by on a weekly basis, and because my father didn't have a car until 1946. That's when we got our first car. But the delivery man would come by and pick up the eggs and take them to Folsom over there.
Do you remember the name of the store?
W.M. Rumsey. Mm-hmm.
Rumsey.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So did you continue to grow pears, or did you diversify?
We grew pears clear up until the time that we went to Wheatland.
Okay.
We had pears on it, yeah.
Okay. All right. What do you remember about Orangeville? Some of the things that were going on, some memorable events.
Powwow days.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of neat. I loved the parade.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun to watch as a kid, you know, watching the fire trucks and all the rest of it, you know, parading down the road. It was kind of neat. It was something you didn't see every day, you know.
Okay. Anything else going on in Orangeville that caught your attention?
At the time, no, probably not. No, just, you know, just everyday work, you know.
All right. All right. What else can you tell us?
A lot of changes. You know, when I remember as a kid, why there was only just a handful of houses, you know, that you would see along most streets around here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they started building the dam, why is when all the people started coming in. You had the construction crews and all the rest of it, and they brought in all kinds of people that, you know, that I didn't grow up with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was growing. It was, you know, things were starting to happen. You know, we had originally, I can remember two stores. There was a store right across the street right here where the bank is right now. It was Baker's Mercantile is what they called it, and it was a grocery store. And there was a store across the street over here also, over here. and it was Willie Woo's Market. And we went to both of those. And there was a bar also across the street that a lot of the locals used to frequent. And my dad had a man hired that was a local drunk that would come by and pick pears for us. He was a fruit tramp, and he'd pick pears, and he would pick grapes and all kinds of things for other people that, that needed work.
Do you remember the name of the bar?
Holmes's.
Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It was old Sleepy Holmes. He walked around like this. And so they called him Sleepy. Mm-hmm.
So do you remember what was on this corner?
There wasn't anything on this corner.
Okay.
It was just an open field. We farmed this 20 acres right here at one time.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. My brother and I did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We grew wheat on it. But I'm trying to think, is when we had the oil crisis, remember? It was during the Carter, I think, administration.
Mm-hmm.
And the price of everything escalated. And you couldn't get diesel, you couldn't, And so we decided, we had chickens. We had like 18,000 of them at the time, and we were buying feed from a feed mill down in Ripon. And the price was just horrible. You couldn't make anything, growing eggs, raising eggs. So we decided that we would grow our own feed. And so we went around to all these people that weren't using their land around here and made a deal with them to farm the ground for them. And we farmed this, I think, for about 3 or 4 years during that time, where they have the Trevi's place. That's the Orangevale Community Center, isn't it? We farmed that also. There was 15 acres in there that we farmed. We grew sweet corn on it for years. Mrs. Trevy owned that. She used to live at the corner of Hazel and Central. That's right, that lady. And she was related to the Green Ulches. You probably heard of them. They were, a farming family around here. And Mrs. McNeely married Mr. McNeely, and she was a Green Ulch.
Okay.
And he was a ball player. I can't remember what team he played, but he was a ball player. I went to school with their daughter, Carol.
Do you remember any of your other classmates?
Oh, yeah, but none of them are real significant. The kids that I grew up with, we had a couple of sisters that her father was a bus driver for Orangevale School, Patterson's. And I had a real good friend. His name was Ernie Dietrich, and his dad was the school custodian there in Orangevale. And they lived at the corner of Orangevale Avenue and Main at the time. That's where the bus barn was for the school also. Was there.
Do you remember any other businesses that were in the area?
Not real early on. There weren't that many businesses. There was a feed store right here where the Walmart is right now, and it was Plummer's Feed Store. My dad used to buy chicken feed and stuff from him during the war.
Okay.
So I remember coming down here with him.
All right.
And other than that, there weren't that many businesses around here.
Okay.
Very few.
Okay.
If you needed something, you would go to either Fair Oaks or Folsom. They were the places. They were the go-to places, you know, if you needed things.
Mm-hmm.
But there was very little around here. You know, I can't remember a gas station here in Orangeville. Oh, I do too. Grange had a gas station over there on Main and Orangeville Avenue. Remember that?
That's before me.
Yeah, that was a long time before you. This was during the war. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what their name was. Benning.
Benning had.
Benning. Yeah, it was Alma Benning. Yeah, she was a good-looking girl. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember Alma. Yeah, but.
Do you know when the Grange moved to here, to this location?
No, I do not. No, no. But they were there. The Bennings were there during the war because we used to get Flying A gas from them. I remember they had Alma had a Dodge. It was a black, I think it was a 46 or a 47 four-door. Oh my God, that thing is beautiful. That's such a pretty car. Yeah, it was really neat. Yeah.
So when did Powwow Days start? Do you remember, or what caused it to start?
I think the cables at the time had something to do with it. I think Brennan had. I think he had something to do with it. I'm not positive, but do you remember?
No. When I came here, the Powwow Days was really strong and active, and the chamber had taken.
But I think Brennan had a lot to do with it. He was the one that I think organized it. I think.
Okay.
Don't hold me to it. I know I'm being recorded. And
These are memories.
yeah.
These are memories. Mm-hmm.
Talk about the school. The school that you guys did to
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
the school.
What?
When you were in school and on vacation, what you guys did.
Did the school have fish in it?
Did the what?
School have fish?
Yeah, this wasn't very nice.
Oh, there's a rumor there was some fish at the school in the summertime. Is that a rumor or
No.
more of a memory?
Buddy and I went down to the river down here and caught some fish. And we didn't know what to do with them. We had a bunch of perch. And so, I don't know who had the bright idea, whether it was him or me, I don't know who it was. But we put it in the heating and in the air ducts in Orangeville School. Okay, over, I think it was Easter vacation. And needless to say, why we were out of school for about 4 or 5 days after the vacation, the week's vacation, because it was pretty rank. Yeah.
And did you ever have to answer to that deed?
Not that I know of, no. Neither one of us did, you know. When you're that age, well, you deny everything, you know. So, but he was the custodian. The father was the custodian, like I told you.
Okay.
You know? And so he and I went over there to see his dad, and we had these fish, and we didn't know what to do with them.
That just meant he knew his way around.
Huh?
That just meant he knew his way around the school and where to put the fish.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. I'm deaf.
I'm saying Buddy knew his way around the school and exactly where to put the fish for maximum smell.
Oh yeah, we knew exactly what to do. Oh yeah, yeah. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
in those days,
We knew where the fan was. Yeah. Mhm.
So was that your only prank?
Oh no, there were others, but I don't think I'll tell
Oh,
you.
we're
what
not
they
gonna
were.
talk about
No,
those.
no,
In
no,
those
no. I'll get myself in trouble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, those will remain hidden.
Yes.
Yes. Well, what else do you remember about your days in Orangeville?
the kids did all
The people. I think the people were
kids did
nice.
all the
You know,
lawns and maintenances.
I really like the people. You know,
Janitor.
like I say, we had a farm stand on the place,
The
and
kids had to do
we met a lot of nice people. You know, they kind of touch your heart. You know.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people that I can remember, you know.
Yeah. Was there anything else you'd like to tell us?
I'll probably think of it when I get home. But right now, no.
All right.
What
Well,
did you do for entertainment?
Just, I don't know, we had several families, you know, that used to get together on the weekends. I had cousins. I had a whole slew of cousins. My uncle had 7 kids, so.
And your
they-
uncle's name was?
Huh?
And your uncle's name?
Prosper.
Prosper.
Yeah, Tommy.
And he
Yeah,
had
Tommy's father.
Okay.
But yeah, we had cousins up the kazoo. We had a lot of relatives. I had a lot of relatives in Sacramento, and they would come up on the weekend and see my mother, you know, and my father. So yeah, we had cousins all around here. But as far as having things to do, there wasn't a heck of a lot until after they built the dam up there, and then by then I was a teenager, and we spent quite a bit of time up around the dam doing things that we shouldn't be doing, but we did.
So you all collectively have put quite a stamp on this community, it sounds like.
At one time, yeah.
So,
I'd like to think so, you know.
so there
Like I
was,
say, we fed a lot of people. We grew a lot of things. We used to get people coming from Sacramento to buy eggs from us, so it was kind of a long trip, 20 miles away, you know, having them drive just to get some eggs, you know. But they would, you know.
Do
I
you
was
remember how
grateful.
much you sold eggs for? How much a dozen?
You know, my dad got $1 a dozen for them during the war,
It's quite a lot.
which is unbelievable. You know, he made a lot of money on those few chickens that he had during the war. Yeah, I remember him telling me that, you know where Curry Downs is, right down the street here.
Right.
Why, he worked also part-time for the Thomas Company, you know, the dredge company. And they were offering that ground where Curry Downs is $1 an acre for whoever wanted it. But the assessment, the tax assessment on it was more than the dollar. So he didn't want to spend his money and buy that place, but he had the opportunity, you know. That was a gold mine, you know.
Did you ever see the dredges in operation?
Yeah.
Can you describe them?
That was just a big old, it looked like a crane, you know, out here digging the ground, you know, and putting it through like a sluice box, you know, that he had in the back of it. So he would, once in a while, would bring some gold home, you know. You'd find it in a little sack, you know, and it was contaminated. It wasn't just pure gold. There was a lot of stuff in there, I guess, that they called mica. You know, it's like fool's gold. And he would bring that home, and I'd go, wow, you know. I'd take it to school, show everybody, you know. But it wasn't real gold, you know.
You were
Did you-
saying you had a hard time in school.
Huh?
You were having a hard time the first year of school. Why?
No, the second year.
Well, the second year?
Yeah, I failed. Yeah. I think what a school year is, 180 days, I think, of school. And I went to school, I think, like 40 of those days. I don't know. We had only one doctor here at the time. This was during the war. And about midway through, the war broke out. And they took him, Dr. Blunden was his name, and he was in Fair Oaks. And at the time, my folks didn't have a car, and so if you got sick, you were basically on your own.
I was going to ask about that.
The only thing that they didn't have penicillin or any of that stuff. So I remember they would give you sulfa drugs. And sulfa drugs would take out your kidneys. And back then, people just didn't know, you know. And so you basically just separated out whatever it was that you had, you know. And so whatever I had, why I separated out. So I lost a lot of time at school, so I had to redo second grade.
And you had language trouble.
Well, at the beginning I did. Yeah,
You didn't speak
because
English.
when I went to school, I didn't know very much English.
Oh, so your family didn't speak English at home?
Croatian, okay? And it was during the war, and if you think the Hispanics have a hard time, I had a lot worse. It was during the war, and they didn't know whether I was a German or a Croatian or what I was. And I used to get the living daylights whipped out of me. So, yeah.
So did you keep that talent of speaking both languages?
Oh, yeah.
Tell 'em about the polio time.
Hmm?
Polio, when did that come around?
Well, my brother got polio in 1943. And my mother really took it to heart. She blamed herself that she felt like she contributed to it, you know. And so she favored my brother all those years. And growing up, why, I used to get the heck whipped out of me for things that I didn't do. But, you know, my brother would antagonize her or something. And she'd take it out on me, you know.
What was your brother's
Yeah,
name?
You know, sorry, Victor.
Victor?
Yeah.
What were your sisters' names?
I didn't have a sister.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Misunderstood.
Yeah, no. Just one brother.
All right.
There's
All
just two
right.
of us in the family.
Do you have other questions?
You mentioned Dr. Blunden. I think he had a daughter named Joan.
I don't think so.
Is that one?
Not a relation?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, yeah. I think my wife went to school with,
Joan London,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she went to school.
That's the one.
Bella Vista.
Yep.
Mhm.
I mean, no. Yeah, Bella Vista.
Was it Dr. Blunden's?
I thought it was.
Really?
I went to school with a Joan Blunden from Fair Oaks.
The same one that she went to school with, probably.
Probably.
When was that? What year?
68.
Ring a bell.
No, I didn't go till 69, so.
She was there then.
She was a year ahead of me. So she
Mhm.
was in your class, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Sherry Wagner?
Mm-hmm. I still see her.
Do you?
Yep.
She was just down not too long ago. We spent a lot of time with her too.
Mm-hmm.
What a small world.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Nick, as you go through things, now that you know there's something being created for the Historical Society or a Historical Society for Orangevale, as you go through some of your things, will you keep us in mind?
Oh,
for-
absolutely. Of course.
You would, that's your last, and you and Marilyn can become more and more friendly, if you will,
Of
with some
course.
of what you do have.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
He always has
I'd be
stories.
happy to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, I want to thank you for sitting with us today. This has been fun to hear about life in Orangevale a few
Thank you.
years ago.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was one of the places